trying to figure out what is the most dangerous state to go on vacation in. Because Colorado killed off the energy sector. We've killed off the ranchers and the farmers. So what do we have left? Marijuana and tourism. So it turns out Colorado is number 2 most dangerous state in America to go on vacation in, right behind New Mexico. All right, hey guys, it's the Twisted View. I'm Leland Conway, along with my friends Benjamin Allbright and Christian Toto. Subscribe and like our channel. Click that little bell icon for notifications so you know when there's a new episode up. Plus, find the Twisted View podcast on wherever podcasts are found. Now, if you have any suggestions, complaints, or other issues with us, we really don't care. So just send an email to ihateleland@twistedview.com. Fellas, it's good to see you guys again. Christian Toto is here. We also have Ben Allbright, who actually has a flamethrower and is willing to use it.
I do. I do own a flamethrower.
How did you keep your driveway clear this winter?
I thought the flamethrower, of course.
He has video to prove it.
Yeah.
And what happened when your neighbors saw this?
There were some complaints. The flamethrower police did not show up. I was still okay there, but yeah, they would prefer that I shovel my driveway from now on.
One of my favorite stories of all time, Christian, was when Elon Musk came out with his flamethrower a while back, and he couldn't ship them to California because they don't want you to ship flamethrowers to the state of California. Right. So on the outside of the box, he changed the name to Not a Flamethrower and was able legally to ship them to California. I thought that was brilliant. I freaking love that. We should all have flamethrowers.
Anecdote humanly possible.
Yeah, he called it like a candle lighter or something at that point. Yeah,
I love it. Well, let's get this party started, guys. Yeah. We got our little classic bourbon cream from Buffalo Trace. And a little root beer. And if you're wondering how do you make this drink, I learned how to do it at Buffalo Trace's distillery. What you do is you take ice cold root beer, you do about 75% root beer and about 25% bourbon cream. It's freaking phenomenal. I got those
backwards, my bad.
Well, you know, I mean, you can do it either way you like. It's America, God bless it. So, okay, I want to jump into a couple stories here. A couple weeks ago on the first episode of Twisted View, we talked about the question, do you feel safe in Denver? Well, it gets a little more complicated when you ask the question, do you feel safe in Colorado? Oh. Right? And they actually just put out an article, the New York Post had this, trying to figure out what is the most dangerous state to go on vacation in. Because Colorado, I mean, you know, we've yeah, right? Well, we've killed off the energy sector, right? We've killed off the ranchers and the farmers, right? So what do we have left?
Wolves.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got wolves. Marijuana and tourism. So it turns out Colorado is number 2 most dangerous state in America to go on vacation in, right behind New Mexico.
Well, we're going to go for number 1, but number 2 is respectable.
Right, so, just might as well.
I'm disappointed in Colorado, only pulling the silver medal here.
That's right.
You know, what do we have to continue? I mean, what are the most dangerous?
Also ran.
Is this like Arkansas? Like what's the most dangerous state?
The most dangerous is New Mexico. Okay. Louisiana is number 3. Speaking of your home state of Arkansas, that's number 5.
Yeah.
Alaska's number 6, but that's not because people will stab you. It's because you'll get eaten by a grizzly bear or killed by a moose. Washington State, California number 8, Nevada number 9, and South Carolina number 10. So,
okay.
Surprising stats.
Really. And is that like based on the crime per capita or crime plus nature?
So according to the New York Post, it's known, obviously, Colorado's known for its beautiful ski resorts, mountains, etc. But we're ranked the 11th best overall state due to good public education, they said. But they've basically said from a safety standpoint and crime, both property and violent crime, we are the second worst in America. 474 violent crimes per 100,000 people, property crime of almost 3,000 per 100,000 people.
Man, that's just the 16th Street Mall.
Yeah, it's just
right. Yeah, you can get the rest of the state
the averages a little bit, right?
Yeah, Breckenridge is not, it's not skewing the averages here.
Yeah, but I mean, when I moved here 6 years ago, this place was really great.
Yeah. I moved here in 2013.
And 6 years later.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I just saw Sam Morril, who's a great stand-up comedian.
Love
One
him.
of the best.
Love him.
And he opened the show, and they would do like a local, hey, I was on the street, and I was meeting Denver residents.
Bad idea.
All the shtick. He said, I went for a walk in Denver downtown a couple hours ago. He said, that was pretty dicey. I won't be doing that again. Now, this guy's from New York City. So
Right.
he's no shrinking violet.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to walk around.
Yeah, when the New Yorkers are refusing to
Yeah.
walk around downtown Denver,
Yeah.
we got a problem.
That's a sign.
Yeah.
That's a sign.
I'm headed back to Brooklyn. This place is too dangerous for me.
Is that the thing, though, to discuss here? Is it that the rest of the state is okay, but the metro area of Denver, Colorado Springs, maybe Fort Collins, if you want to throw it in there, Grand Junction's getting pretty rough. I mean, is it the rest of the state is okay? Is it Denver skewing these stats? What's making people feel unsafe here?
I think Denver and Pueblo probably are skewing the stats here. While
Pueblo? Yeah.
you know, I don't think anybody's throwing Fort Collins under the bus for this. You know,
Not yet.
or not seeing
Not yet.
that Durango under the bus for this. So it probably is. It probably is the Denver metro area, relatively speaking. I mean, that would be an anecdotal claim on my part, but I mean, that seems to be legitimate.
We're going in the wrong direction, though, guys.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Not a stat you're proud of.
Yeah, and I don't understand why the state's leaders don't really seem urgent about that, right? I mean, it's like they've done some platitudes, but I don't see anything shifting that says we're going to go down to the 16th Street Mall and we're going to actually clean that mess up. What I see is we're going to spend $5 million to study whether or not we should call it 16th Street or the mall
That's right.
or the 16th Street Mall, right? Like that seems to be where the urgency is.
Let me meet me over here at camera 2 again. We can do any of
Why
the
do you
above.
only talk to those
I'll
people?
save you. They're my people. We're right
Okay,
here.
my bad. Number 2.
Yeah, just say we can save you the $5 million right now. Any of the above will work. It doesn't matter.
I just had a lesson with my son teaching him what virtue signaling means. That's what virtue signaling means. I'm going to change the name, not do anything else.
Yeah,
That's a virtue.
perfect. Yeah, and what I feel bad for is the small businesses
yeah.
that get caught up in this mess because at the end of the day, there was another report the other day that I heard from a restaurant owner, and they were like, "Yeah, we're packing up shop, we're leaving. Nobody seems to care about the plight that we have right here." And Denver I was reading an article about Denver the other day, and I can't remember. I think it was in the Wall Street Journal, but it was talking about how back in the 1980s and 90s, this was like a boom town in America. I mean, it was cowboys, it was oil town, and there was money, and there was innovation, and there was technology, and there were like all these. And then they were saying that the cool thing was you had this weird, cool melting pot of people who had all these different points of view on the world. There were liberals, there were conservatives, there were libertarians, and now it's like there's a little small pool of people to the right, and then everybody else is way over here, and they're intolerant of anything else. And they're incapable of admitting that they're wrong about stuff.
I think, I had family that lived out here in the 90s. Now, I didn't come out here till 2012, 2013, but I had family that lived out here then. And they said the main thing was it was this melting pot. And then you had the Silicon Valley influx. You basically had the California influx out here. And that was where the state, really kind of shifted at that point.
Why do people leave a place that's a mess, go to a place that's not a mess, and proceed to make it a mess? Like if you're leaving it because it's a mess, stop making the mess.
It's the $1 million question, which seems like there's an obvious answer, and we defy the answer every time. The whole broken windows policy about crime is pure, it's elegant, it's been proven. It should be the gospel of governance, and yet we completely ignore it.
Yeah. Explain that for people at camera 3.
Yeah, it's just, you take care of the little crimes, the big crimes don't always happen.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's the I mean, the what can I get away with? I find where what I can get away with, and that's the level you rise or fall to, depending on how you look at it.
Isn't there something else kind of happening too? I think in a lot of places like Denver in particular, where there's a pursuit of anything that feels good, so there isn't really a moral center to society in a lot of ways. I think that's part of why you don't see politicians really going in and cleaning up the homeless problem. You don't see them going in and until you've actually committed your 3rd or 4th murder and you're over the age of 30, we might not put you in jail, right? It's like this refusal to recognize what you said. If a kid is getting wayward at 14 and you don't step in and give them some hard love, right? They're going to be way off the rails by the time they're 30 and perhaps a complete lost cause. We're missing that.
Yeah. I mean, I think, obviously morality is relative, but you've got to find a way to train within the collective
I don't
morality.
think morality is relative, is it?
Yeah, I think so. It's relative, person to person.
Well, okay, but we're
Like,
talking.
for instance, I'm okay smoking pot, but
No,
some people may
okay.
not be.
That's
like,
there's relative fringes around the outside, but
Right.
neither of us are going to say. There's nobody that's going to say morally it's okay to kill somebody. There's nobody that's going to say.
cannibalistic tribe might
Oh
say
my
that.
God! Why do we even?
you know,
Seriously?
what I'm saying is, like in the larger.
Well, I told about the cannibals. Let's interview one of those guys.
Let's do those.
Hey, let's get a cannibal on the line.
I
and
read
find
this
out what
great
their
story the
moral
other
line
day.
is.
No, but I'm saying like the cannibal tribe, like they would be
Right.
fine if you're not part of the tribe. So I would say there's a collective morality that, you know, depending on the size of the group, there is a
Right.
collective morality as you go. And obviously, we have laws. Laws are not relative. Laws are meant to be static. The problem is we treat them as relative now, and
That's
we
a good
don't
point. There
enforce
you
them
go.
here.
You just nailed it. You just nailed it.
I think we're living in a frog in a boiling pot life right now, where it's going so slowly, the heat is rising, but we don't notice it. If we went from 2002 Denver to 2025 Denver, like, oh my gosh, we got to make a
Yeah.
change. We got to
Yeah.
we got to vote for different people. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
It's a very
We're
good
not,
point.
we're not going anywhere. We're not changing anything.
Unless you have, well, for me, 6 years was pretty fast because when my wife and I moved here, we literally moved here because it was a libertarian utopia. It literally was a place where, for the most part, because I really don't, you're talking about, this is the relative side of it, right? Like for me personally, I'm not going to smoke pot. I'm not going to judge you if you do. I don't care, right? You do it, whatever you want to do in your life, I don't care. That comes back to that sort of socially liberal, I mean, conservative in my personal life, but socially liberal for what everybody else does. That's what this was. I didn't feel like people judged you.
Yeah.
I felt like you could just get along, but there was still a free market where you could be successful financially and set your dreams. In 6 short years, that is dissipated almost entirely. It's one of the most expensive states to live in the country.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the COVID years and the
Yeah.
I would say that's part
George
of it.
Floyd years too.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
got the
Those
COVID
two
shock
things
and the
changed everything rapidly.
Yeah, in a lot of parts of America,
I
for
would,
sure.
yeah, I would definitely agree. That's a good point because I was going to say the COVID thing, but the George Floyd thing did. You did. Those are the two national shocks you sort of lived through coming out.
But why did some states go the way we went and others didn't?
That I can't answer.
a
What I
great
will
question.
say is moving out here. I moved out here 2012, so I was a couple years ahead of you. But it was sort of a free market of ideas too.
Yes. Yeah.
And that does not exist
like-
here now. You exist in this camp or this camp, and then you and I over here in this camp, and then it's,
right.
You know,
Well, and I mean, Polis ran on this idea that he was some kind of libertarian and that there was going to be this sort of business utopia, and it didn't materialize at all because it's not really what he is, you know. And it's like that whole idea. Like I'm looking to start another business. I'm probably not going to start it in Colorado because why would I? Why would I go through what I have to go through to hire people? Because then I can't fire people, you know, based on performance. Can't do that. You know, they make it incredibly hard. They make it incredibly high tax. They make it incredibly high regulatory, you know. So I know we were supposed to be talking about crime, but I
No,
mean,
no,
it really
it's
kind of
all
all
part
it's a
of it
comes
crime.
together.
You have to. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, man, you know. But you know what else Colorado's number one in? Or not quite number one, but high on the list? Spottings of space aliens.
Whoa. Not very
no,
quick.
not again. Not again.
I don't understand why
We've done
Benjamin
this before.
Allbright doesn't even entertain
Can
the
you do
idea
this?
that there could be space aliens.
Can you do that?
Oh, I love Star Trek. I live long and prosper. I love it. I love it. I'm obsessed
That's
with
a baby step.
astronomy. And in fact, for longer than I probably should have, believed I was going to be one of the first human beings on Mars.
Really?
Into my 20s.
Okay.
And part of the reason I joined the Army in the first place was I was going to go the
Is
communications.
this why you said you're totally cool with smoking certain
Right, that's
substances?
where that came
'Cause
from.
That's where that was
Yeah,
coming
Katy
right.
Perry will be first. You could be second.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I can right after her. No,
She's
but
an
I mean,
astronaut now.
Yeah, oh yeah, total astronaut. But I mean, I did. Like that was my whole life. That was my dream. You know, now I've got to the point where I realized that that's not going to happen. But you know, that was my dream up well into my 20s. This is the reason I joined the Army, was because I thought that was going to be the easiest way in, going the communications route on the crew, while everybody else wanted to be commander and pilot. I would, you know, that would be the so long before. So I'm obsessed with that. I frequently give quantum
But you
mechanics
don't-
lectures to people while we're at
You
the
don't
radio station.
entertain.
No, like the idea that there's extraterrestrial, you know, life, that, you know, the lizard people and all this kind of stuff. I think there's life out there.
Oh my God. I think you are so, okay. So here's the deal.
All right.
One thing I love about podcasting is that there isn't that competition where you have to worry about promoting other podcasts. We should all promote each other. We should all help each other out. Not that he needs any help, but Joe Rogan is the #1 podcast in the world, and I listen to it religiously.
2 right after the Twisted View.
Oh, that's right. Number
The
2,
rankings
right
are
after
out.
the Twisted View.
The
My
rankings
bad.
are out.
Yeah, I got to get the
Toto.
rings. But he had ex-CIA physicist and scientist Hal Puthoff on his show a couple of weeks ago, and he claimed in that interview that we had more than but less than 20, more than 10 recovered UFOs. That the
Ships.
United States has more than 10 recovered spaceships.
Okay, hold on. Now, how are we using the term UFO? Because
Okay.
I firmly believe that we have 10 craft that we have not identified and that we've recovered.
UAPs.
Okay.
And he made it clear he thinks they come from outer space, but that he's open to the idea that we might have interdimensional beings on the planet.
Oh my.
We've tapped the multiverse
Why
now.
are you looking at me like that?
We've tapped the multiverse.
Interdimensional beings.
3 Spider-Men. Come on.
Yeah, it's like we all need to do the
Am I
Spider-Man.
the only one here
pointy
willing to
meme.
entertain this?
Yes.
I'm open to, in the sense, I'm
When
open
you
to the
go
possibility. I'm open to the possibility. Show me some evidence.
Okay.
Like that's where I'm at with that. There's no.
You
and
have
I-
a
and I've
CIA
seen-
scientist.
My former boss used to be the interim head of the CIA, and he told me the exact opposite of that.
Okay, so are you saying Hal Puthoff's a liar?
I'm saying that my boss conflicts his point of
But
view.
your boss, who was, how high was he?
As high as you get.
Okay, that guy doesn't want us to know those things exist. Are you part of the disinformation
That's
campaign?
me.
Are you here?
I'm here to
at the
throw
behest
you
of the
all
CIA
off
to
about
tell us-
interdimensional beings. That's me.
That's what it is. He's a plant.
Yeah,
It's-
Doctor Strange.
You're part of a psyop.
Doctor Strange is actually a documentary.
If somebody will pay me, I will be a plant as well.
I am fascinated by this, and we get more sightings of this stuff in Colorado.
No,
than
but
a
how
lot
come
of
this
other
expert
states.
didn't whip out his phone and just go, and then
Because then he would go to jail. Like he explained that. Go listen to the episode.
Maybe
So he would go
Sketch
to
it?
jail for that, but not going on the
Yeah,
largest podcast in the world?
No, he couldn't say specifics. But what is your response? What is
He's
your
Lord
response?
of the dancing around it right now. It's Michael Flaherty here tap dancing around this thing.
What is your response, Benjamin Allbright? What is your response to the fact that there's multiple whistleblowers from the intelligence world community that have come forward and testified under oath before Congress?
Some of those people are lying. 2 of them I know are notorious for doing that.
Okay.
I can't say credibly because I don't know every single one of them.
Right, sure.
But I can say that I know that 2 of the more prominent ones over the recent years are known
So
liars in the community.
What is the purpose of going under oath under threat of jail?
At that point, you got nothing to lose. You've been the guy. You don't have that job anymore. You have nothing to lose. You're looking to create attention for yourself. And anyway, now you can get in this space and you can make money
Okay.
going to the circuit, doing the lectures, and making the money.
Is it possible, though, that it's part of a bigger psyop, that the government actually would like us to be chasing this rabbit tail
Mm-hmm.
because they have something else they're developing and they don't want us to know that that's what it is? I mean, remember back in the 1990s, everybody was seeing the triangle-shaped UFOs, and what did we get?
XR1 Aurora Thunderdart.
Exactly,
So
which looks exactly like some of the things that were described. And where were they testing it?
Groom Lake.
Area 51.
All right, I hate the word psyop. Because I feel
Why?
because
It's happening every day all
it's
around
on
us.
X. It's all the grifters on X use psyops. It drives me nuts. So just
Yeah.
use any other phrase and I'm with it.
Propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, is it? Let's look at it from the opposite perspective. Let's look at it as could it potentially be true, right? What
For the folks on camera one, I'm the only one here that has common sense enough to believe this stuff.
Right.
These guys, skeptics.
Yeah, Mulder and Scully dynamic here. Let's assume. Let's go with good
Do you
faith.
believe in
that
Bigfoot?
do I believe that there were ape-type animals on the planet at some point? Yes. Do I
that's a
believe there's
dodge.
one roaming around?
You're not answering the question.
Roaming around
You're not
Seattle,
answering the
eating
question.
Jack Link's beef jerky. No.
I've seen that video footage of the guy going and
Yeah, and then the Chewbacca suit walking around, doing no. I'm a skeptic by nature. Show me the
Okay,
evidence.
sure.
I'm open to the possibility, but you got to show me evidence.
Okay.
But let's go with the good faith that this is the government doesn't want people to know about.
Okay.
Why? Tell me why the government would hide this. Why wouldn't you celebrate?
Well,
why
because-
wouldn't
okay.
we could be having interdimensional trade and we
So-
could tariff the interdimensional aliens.
Because the government always, there's a lot of reasons why. Like I can think of a lot of reasons.
I can think
why.
of the religious
if,
reason,
If we're
but-
saying, yeah. So
Yeah,
if we're saying we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt, let's
Right.
just pretend like all 3 of us believe
Okay.
that space aliens are here, they're visiting. We have some captured, we
Men
have
in
some
Black, all that,
bodies,
yep.
Men in Black, the whole
Yeah.
thing. So let's say that. The reason that because I think that's a really good question. Even as somebody who wants to believe, but I consider myself what I would call myself an open-minded skeptic. I'm not as skeptical as you. I'm fascinated by these stories. There's something behind this, and I don't know what it is. Well, I have a theory. I don't know if I want to tell it right here, but anyway. But let's just say it is. The reason why the government wouldn't want to is, one, if they have some of this technology, they want to develop it for military purposes rather than give it to us. That's number one. and they don't want the other countries who might be trying to do the same thing to have it. And then number two, you have societal uproar if we suddenly realize that we're not only not the only intelligent species in the universe, but we're also not the smartest, right? Like that would cause a lot of...
I'm not sure we're the smartest now.
Well, I think there's some animals smarter than us.
Dolphins got it going on, man.
Dogs are better than people.
Getting high on puffer fish and swimming around the ocean all day.
Seriously, what would happen if dolphins and killer whales had opposable thumbs?
Oh, we'd drop
Star
from...
Trek 4 would be very different.
Yeah, what? That's true.
I'm surprised the grizzly bears
But
haven't figured out.
That's your why, though. That's your why. I would think.
but then
that seems like a logical why to me.
And I've heard that one before,
Okay.
so allow me to retort.
Okay.
At that point, you have to so believe in either random luck or American exceptionalism that the aliens decided to visit America and all these other countries that they either didn't visit or are keeping it under wraps for their own.
Yeah, the theory is that all of the big powers have this technology.
Then why don't they ever accidentally land in Luxembourg?
We're racing each other to back engineer the technology.
Okay, well, why didn't any of these civilizations, these aliens ever, accidentally land in Belgium?
I don't know. They did. The Brazil, there's like stories from Brazil, from Germany. There's actually stories. See, other countries don't hide this the way we do. In Italy, they're very open about they're very open about air-based gun battles that they've had with these vehicles. Iran had that situation happen where there was a pilot that actually tried to shoot one of these things down. There's other countries that are a lot more open about this. It's the United States and Britain, Russia, and China that seem to be really kind of cloaky and daggery about it.
Is there a Russian Richard Dreyfuss who makes a mountain out of mashed potatoes? Because that's the proof. That's what we need. That kind of hard proof.
When are they coming back? Like, at what point do we need to contact Jeff Goldblum so we can hook our Apple computer into the alien interface?
If you want to dive in,
I think we've done that.
If you're somebody who is capable, if you're a society that's capable of coming from light years away,
you have to have
a technology that can bend space and time. Right. You have to have wormholes,
right?
Okay, so let's say you have a wormhole. You're essentially bringing one point of time and another point of time together in one spot. The idea that those would all come together at exactly the same spot is kind of funky to me. Which makes
how you would map that,
right? Which is how I would explain what we're seeing in 1947 Roswell, what we're seeing in 1996 Phoenix Lights, what we're seeing in all these other sightings, that from their perspective might in fact just all be around the same time. But from our perspective, stuck where we are, it looks like it's this long timeline of 75 years where nothing has happened and they've never come back. But in reality, they're just popping up at different points in the timeline because they're going from one point in the universe to the next. Like that to me explains why maybe, because I've had that thought too. I'm like, well, what the hell are they doing? Come on, show us.
But they're always
crap or get off the pot.
They're always benevolent. They're never attacking us. If they attack us,
that's not true either, because some of the reports now are like that there's been a couple of cases where they've done some things. So
but I mean, if they're that powerful and smart to get here, they could outgun our Tom Cruise-esque.
Maybe all they have is a revolver.
Let's not besmirch the name of Maverick.
Right? Yeah. Thank you.
I've gone too far.
But maybe they have this incredible technology on their planet that's sort of dropped in their lap. But from a warrior technical standpoint, they've got nothing more than a BB gun or a revolver.
I'm not buying that.
Based on the human predilection to create a weapon from anything, and I think we were all children and created guns from sticks.
Hell yeah, sticks. God bless sticks.
I think I struggle to conceptualize a species that does not first use it either for warfare or even just defense. That technology to do those kinds of things. And then, the other part of that, like creating the wormholes, we have enough things out there we should be able to detect those rifts in space. Are you sure? Are
you sure we haven't? Skinwalker Ranch, Sedona, Arizona, Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle is it's just a bad weather place.
I love it. He's just like, he's absolutely.
I feel like I'm on ICQ back in the day, talking to these nerds.
You said you were an open skeptic. It's like being almost pregnant. I don't just.
Well, he's an open door skeptic. I'm a closed door skeptic. I know what he means by that, though.
Yeah,
you got to provide me evidence for me to open the door and have the conversation. He's willing to have the conversation with the sales guy coming up to the door.
Exactly.
No more Joe Rogan for you. You're done.
No more.
We're cutting you off. You got a 30-day moratorium.
I'm fascinated by these stories. Actually, the reason why I'm so fascinated by that doesn't have anything to do with whether I believe it or not. It has to do with my very first job in radio. I was hired to do the overnight shift, so from midnight to 6. And that time it was Art Bell and Coast to Coast. Yeah. And so I was told to get to the radio station at 11:45, and the guy that does the overnights was going to train me. The radio station is in a double-wide trailer in a field across from a prison where violent prisoners are kept. I walk in the back door of the trailer, And the guy that's supposed to train me hands me a crowbar and says, I'm out. I got a date. See you tomorrow. By the way, they found a dead body in the parking lot last week. So then I go into the system in the broadcast room, and I'm like, holy crap, I got a crowbar and I'm in the middle of it, And then the first thing that comes on is Coast to Coast AM, and they're talking about the chupacabra, and they're talking about space aliens. And I was hooked from then on, because the people that call in to those shows, I'm like, wow. Yeah. But I'm fascinated with it, but I've never seen anything, right? Like, I would love to have one just right in front of my car, but it's never happened.
What is the purpose of the crowbar?
It was just for protection, because like if somebody breaks out of the prison.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah.
I was like, what you're describing right now sounds like the opening scene from Independence Day, where Randy Quaid is
pretty close.
Except he doesn't do radio; he's a pilot. But other than that,
pretty close. Pretty close.
Cousin Eddie hands you the crowbar.
Yeah. So I'm not convincing either of you that we have space aliens visiting from another planet.
I'm still
no.
close.
Do you think there's life somewhere out there in the universe?
100%.
What kind of life?
Intelligent, organized life in.
Then why wouldn't they be able to
more
come here?
ways than we can conceptualize? Distance. Just flat out distance, like without
wormhole,
without being able to
Wormhole.
harness quantum entanglement as a form of travel, even a wormhole, even at those distances, like the universe is so vast, people cannot conceptualize how vast it is. Like, I just don't see a way that it's theoretically possible.
You hurt my feelings. So I can't convince you?
Not today.
We get a few more of these, and maybe we'll be.
That's right.
We'll be able to work it. We'll be able to work it. All right, one last thing before we wrap up today.
Sick your psyop, by the way.
Yeah.
He's the psyop.
Somebody asked this question on Outkick.com, and I hadn't thought about this. I have two vehicles that require super unleaded, the high-grade gasoline. I have one that requires diesel. And they asked the question, what's the point of mid-grade gasoline? And I was like, now, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I can't imagine ever using it. I remember when I bought my European cars, I was like, can I get away with mid-grade? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay. So I can't use it as like a step between low grade and high grade that just sort of keeps the engine purring. So what is the point of mid-grade? Why does it exist?
I have no idea. I mean, I want to like hang out at a gas station now and just watch people and see if anyone uses it.
I've never seen anybody use it. Have you?
I've never even heard of anybody.
Give me the mid-grade.
Yeah, give me the no cars have been required that since the 90s. So
did they even require it then? Because back in the 90s, didn't they just have leaded and unleaded? And weren't those the only
they
two
had
choices?
the mid-grade. There was, and mid-grade is different in different places. Mid-grade here in Colorado is what, 91, I think, or 87, 89, 91?
89.
Yeah. Whereas it's 91 in Arkansas because it's 89, 91, 93.
Yeah.
So mid-grade is different. But no, cars haven't required it for a while. There were a few that did require it. I remember back in the 90s. I think Audi was one of them.
Okay.
That had that, but...
But question, does that mean, because you're a car guy,
yeah.
Willie B comes in here with us sometimes. He's a car guy.
He would definitely know.
We have to ask him this next time he comes in.
Oh my God.
If you're a car guy, though, and it's 93 for super in Arkansas, but it's 91 here, aren't we just using mid-grade here?
I mean, kind of.
Right?
I mean,
so
you
then
have
is
the
it
oxygen
all BS?
difference. You have the oxygen difference in terms of what you're pulling in here versus there. I imagine that has something to do with it. For me, though, the way I'm thinking about this right now is it's probably an overflow tank. You're trying to store premium gasoline and your sellers, premium and basic, and then you just mix the two.
But if you never sell it,
well, that's it. I mean, I guess.
The point?
I mean, maybe you funnel it. You funnel it down
put this
to the
back in the high.
Well, it's in the 89 tank. You move it to the 87 tank, and who knows the difference? Like, it doesn't matter.
That's a good point. Hey, you're getting a little bit extra good today,
right? So
you hire the best TikTok artists around, and they promote this crazy, and all of a sudden it's out of you can't get it in stock.
Yeah, I'm for the middle grade.
Mid-grade is actually better for your car. We'll get the price of mid-grade down. It'll be less than.
I love it. All right, thanks, guys. Always good to see you. We'll see you next time. It is The Twisted View. Make sure you tune in.